Yes.
He just pulled down his glasses.
Hashtag emotional. It was like,
God damn! You know what? I just realized I forgot to do something at the end of the show that I wanted to do.
oh, what was it? What was it?
We have our confirmed list for the movie draft on Monday, and this will be the last Night Attack thing before Monday's episode goes out.
That's right.
for
That's
Court
right.
Killers.
I meant to squeeze that in as well.
Well, hey, welcome to the beginning of the after show.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing this at least by Saturday. So we have a list of 31 movies that we're going to be drafting on Monday, this upcoming Monday, September 24th, after Court Killers and an abbreviated spoiler in time. You guys want to go down this list? This is a good list. This was hard. This was such a stacked list that we went with 31 instead of cutting one.
Whoa! Like, there's not a single one.
There was
Wow,
there was
these are
space
really-
for all this. So
Jesus.
we've got. Let me pull up this email.
Okay,
here.
so
So we've got A Star Is Born and Venom. Those are our openers on October
Venom's
5th.
gonna be a stinker. I'll tell you that right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The pre-sales on it are fucking through the roof.
Yeah, but did you see the latest poster they released?
Oh no, it'll be bad.
It looks
but
like it's gonna be on
see
TNT.
the
And
shit out of it.
You think
any
it's gonna be
moment.
bad though? Really?
yeah.
Oh.
they're gonna.
I haven't seen anything that screams quality product. However, but I think you guys are right. It's going to make all the money though, which is the important thing.
I bet it's good.
Wait, they're redoing
So
the Grinch, or is that's different Grinch?
So yeah, we'll get. So we got Bad Times at the El Royale. That's a big John Hamm.
Yeah, they're
comedy
already
drama thing.
hammering the hell out of that one.
First Man, which is a moon.
Sean Penn.
Moon story.
Another Oscar-y.
Yeah.
thing.
Goosebumps 2, Haunted Halloween. The same week.
Are there any Goosebumps viewers in the house?
I would love it if that was the subtitle. Goosebumps 2? Are there any Goosebumps fans? Please buy tickets.
We got Halloween the next week. The big Jamie Lee Curtis reimagining of Halloween. That's gonna get some crossover appeal. I think.
That's got great reviews too.
Yeah?
Yeah, they've been spuging over that.
Spugin?
Spuging.
We got Serenity.
Yeah, no, it's David Gordon Green, but it's got the blessing of everybody, and they did like a straight out horror movie, and the trailer looks awesome.
Yeah. Serenity. Hold on, let me relook up Serenity because it's not.
It's not Firefly.
It's not
Firefly.
It's the re-released Master Edition. Where it's like there's just a bunch of CGI like buffaloes going across the screen.
This is Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. He's like a fisherman and he goes back to his ex-wife and there's probably a murder element to that.
That's a great idea.
They've had some trailers for that already. Johnny English Strikes Again. That's right. Mr. Bean's back, everybody.
Oh my God.
That's October 26th. Next week, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, that's that one. Okay, two questions. Is it going to be good? Is it going to make money?
I don't think it makes money, but I think
It's hit or
it'll be
miss.
Okay.
I don't know, man. It
Bold
wasn't
call, Jay.
long ago that the fastest way to get an Oscar, if you weren't in World War II or playing a handicapped person, was to do a biopic, a musical biopic that everybody can sing along to.
Yeah, but he's not actually singing. They're using Freddie Mercury.
No, he is singing. They just didn't have him in the trailers, if I understand correctly.
Really?
Yeah, they actually did get him. Right?
Mr.
Am I
Robot
right?
got some pipes.
Rami
Yeah.
Malek, hell yeah. Let's see. The Nutcracker and the Four Realms. That's like a live action.
Yeah, that's one of those like snow the
Hybrid.
something the Huntsman. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, and I think there's another
Into the
like a
Woods.
proper Huntsman universe.
Right, but my point
in
is
this list.
taking a fairy tale kids thing and making it more adult.
Yeah, a new Grinch movie. It was funny. When Eileen sent me this list, apparently this Grinch movie had been delayed, so it said 2017 on here.
Oh.
But that's Illumination, the Minions people, and Benedict Cumberbatch. So that
Cumberbatch is the Grinch.
that's right. Cumberbatch
What?
is the Grinch.
And then he solves a murder, and then he turns out to be Khan at the end. Spoiler.
The girl in the spider. The girl in the spider's web. That's a girl with a dragon tattoo series.
Oh wow, same cast or same
No.
actress?
No,
Different, somebody else.
Different
playing?
asterisk. Asterisk.
Asterisk?
Yeah.
Astrid. Her name's Astrid in there.
I listened to the audiobook.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
like-
guy
I like
didn't
the
write
first-
it because the guy's dead. It's like
It's like the fourth in that series.
It's like buddy. It's like buddy. It's like your buddy dies and you marry his widow.
wife. Yeah, that's
So it's
thing
kind
that
of like
you
that
do.
situation, you know.
I mean, you take care of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Overlord. This is a J.J. Abrams war in like sci-fi. There's like a Nazi sci-fi element to this. Overlord, Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. I thought this movie was out. Is this the second Fantastic Beasts movie?
Yeah.
Is
the
this not out
second,
yet?
the second
Yeah.
one. Where, but spoiler alert, Colin Farrell is the villain in the first one, and then he randomly turns into Johnny Depp at the end. And now Johnny Depp's the bad guy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
It
No,
must have been that
the first
polyuse
Fantastic
potion.
Beasts, Colin Farrell's out and he's doing wizard shit and he's like grooming the kids to be his evil wizard people. And then next thing you know, they catch him and he's like, "Huh, you got me. Meow. I'm Johnny Depp." And they're like, "Johnny Depp."
You thought I was a B-list villain. Well, guess what? I'm played by an A-list actor.
Who like signed a 1 1/5 picture deal, I guess. I have no idea why this couldn't be the same person, but
Then we've got Widows, which is a heist movie. Viola Davis is in this. Who else is in this? Colin Farrell's also in this. This is directed by Steve McQueen. Creed 2, the sequel to Creed.
Dude, that is gonna be gangbusters.
Oh
I
yeah,
gu- I
taking on
guarantee you.
the progeny of
but
of-
not
yeah.
not Ryan Coogler, right? It is Michael B. Jordan, but not Coogler in Creed 2.
It looks like that is Stephen Capel Jr. directing. But yes, Stephen Capel Jr. Then we got Green Book. I actually don't know this one.
They redo Robin Hood every 3 years. What the hell?
No, fuck that, Jay.
I'm sorry, I'm
You're
skipping
right,
ahead.
You're
Sorry.
right, you're right, but they're taking it. It's now stepped up its game. There's a new Robin Hood like twice a year, every year, forever now.
Eventually, there'll be a new Robin Hood every 20 minutes. By the way, I'm going to say some of the Robin Hoods were good and some were not so good. And I'm going to say none of them took anything away from the original Robin Hood story, which is all to say, under the old copyright laws, Star Wars would have been in the public domain by now. And I'm betting that wouldn't it have been great if we could see other people tell the Star Wars story with different takes?
I mean, maybe. Although I would say that your least credible example on that is citing Robin Hood, where they traditionally pump out like one very boring or awful movie in that idea, and no one ever takes his chances. Like Robin Hood's, I don't know, fucking set it in the future, or make them all robots or fucking elves or something. Like, I don't know, do some crazy shit with Robin Hood.
It's got Jamie Foxx in it.
Robot Hood.
Robot Hood.
I am Robot Hood.
Green Book is about a tour of the Deep South in the 1960s by Jamaican-American classical pianist Don Shirley. It's got Mahershala Ali and Viggo Mortensen in it, so it's going to get some real thirst tickets. Ralph Breaks the Internet. Do you think Ralph 2 is going to be big? They have been promoting it so much, and I don't know if this is overhyped or if you can...
I do, and even though the trailers have been weird, I feel like they're signaling it's sort of I don't want to say transgressive, but like a culturally aware nature, where it's like they do in one of the trailers, they do this whole riffing on the Disney tropes things about princesses.
Oh, right.
That didn't make a lot of sense as a trailer for this movie, but it did make a lot of sense in indicating like, hey, there's going to be a lot of Disney letting their hair down and ribbing themselves.
Well, I would say like as promotion for the movie, it was very effective. I keep seeing screenshots of just that sequence, constantly because of all the different like new outfits and the way that they are re-portraying the different princesses,
right,
in that like 10-second clip or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it's like that episode of The Simpsons with what's the doll or whatever, and it's like, yeah, she's got a hat, she's totally different.
Oh,
Barbie.
Malibu Stacy.
Malibu Stacy.
Now-
Yeah.
Oh,
with
that's
new
right.
hat.
Yeah.
Now with new hat. Yeah.
It's like now this princess has wings.
But that being said, look, it's an animated movie, and Wreck-It Ralph did huge. This one will do huge.
Yeah, also at the right time of year, and we haven't seen, I guess outside of The Grinch, we've not seen any other kids stuff.
Correct.
Unless you count Fantastic Beasts.
Nutcracker might be like an older kid. sort
Wait,
of
is
thing.
Jack Black in
This
Goosebumps too?
is like
Yeah,
everybody's
yeah,
at
he is.
school, pile him in.
Yeah, because he's R.L. Stein,
Well,
dude.
I know, but maybe he died in the first one. I didn't see it.
He's in a coma.
He is?
No.
Oh, okay. You can't drop that. That could happen.
Hey, separate things. Did you see? Did you see the? I'm gonna use air quotes here. The trailer for the new Tenacious D animated, and I'm using air quotes on animated series for that's a YouTube original.
No.
If look up Post Apocalyptico.
Do you want to? Oh.
We can take a sideways journey here. We're in the post show, right? And then.
You're gonna have to give me more than.
Yeah. Throw Tenacious D in there and write trailer.
All right.
There you go.
I know how to say. Okay, give me.
I can type.
There you go. To the right. That's the one. That's on the official channel.
Give me 1 second.
Desolate Earth. That's it. Get ready, YouTube.
I'm ready.
Cool. Tenacious D.
Wait,
So
so-
is this an original or just they're just gonna post it on YouTube?
It's I believe it's a YouTube original.
well, this
did
is,
they-
this is
you know
only
what?
on YouTube,
You're right, but it doesn't say premium.
right?
Yeah.
So
Did-
basically,
so
it
did
just
they-
means they're not releasing it as a album, I guess, or
Or like, yeah, it's not gonna be a DVD or something.
So did they ditch the Red name, YouTube Red?
Yeah,
now
it's
it's
YouTube
YouTube
Premium.
Premium. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
probably a good call.
Probably.
It was
Turns
communist.
out, yeah, it was a bad name when they announced it. It only took them a year and a half to figure it out.
Then we've got Second Act. This is new J-Lo. J-Lo's back doing romantic comedies, and now she's got that China money. This
China money.
the distributors.
You mean
funded
counterfeit
by
American
China.
bills?
Okay, sure.
Does she have to does she fall in love in Shanghai or some shit? They always shoehorn that China shit in.
Maybe so. She plays like a what is it? She plays a woman who is in a low-paying job and then fibs her way into getting a high-powered executive job at a business company, and so she has to quote handle a major business deal. So you can probably tie
That
Chinese.
dude's
interests
gonna
into that.
involve China.
Number 21, Mortal Engines. This have you guys heard anything about this?
Yeah, it's a sequel to Mortal Kombat.
Okay. It's like
They're working in a
They're
body
fixing
shop.
Cars. They're
It's all-
fixing cars and they're gonna race them for pinks.
That's right, and all the heroes work in one garage, and all of the villains work in another. And Shang Tsung says, "All your cars are going to race each other."
so I'm gonna play you the opening of this trailer because
And then Goro drops 2 subs and he's like, "What?" This is also
60
fixing
minutes
cars.
is all it took
Oh my
to bring
God!
humanity to the very brink of extinction.
Tell me, I was right.
Mankind mobilized. A new age arose.
Oh, this is where all the
The
cities
age
are cars.
of the
Yep.
great predator cities.
It's London.
Survival.
it's these big
of the
cars
fastest.
literally eat little cars that are little cities, and then
I think this looks cool.
Yeah, it
And
does
then
look cool. It looks
there's
like a video game.
yeah, there's like some murder mystery conspiracy.
It's kind of like what was that? What was it? Hover Junkers as a
Mad
movie.
Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Actually, I do feel like there's a Mad Max
Says,
element to it. I mean, you have
Oh,
cars.
yeah,
you have cities
absolutely.
on our
But
cars.
yeah,
J-Lo's the new Friar Tuck in the new Robin Hood. She's not just Jenny from the Frock.
Okay, December 14th, you also have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
so hype for this one. Dude,
Infinite money.
It's gonna be all the money on the planet. It's gonna be great. I cannot wait.
This is going to be
What-
the first
what-
like big wide release animated superhero movie though, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope
It's
it.
animated.
Oh,
it's all
Jay, have you
3D.
never seen this?
I haven't seen
Oh,
it.
dude, give Jay a taste. Give Jay a taste.
Okay, we're gonna
And
do
by
that.
Well,
give a taste-
we can probably, because I don't think there's a lot here. We can
Sure,
probably
we'll
blast
just run through the rest of this. Mary Poppins Returns, that'll be a big Disney thing. Alita Battle Angel is going to be a
They
big
fixed
fucking
the eyes
stinker.
on that to where they weren't so disturbing, so it
Did
looks
they?
a bit better. Yeah, they changed the eyes.
Okay,
Uh,
I've only.
Sorry,
I guess
I
I've
don't know
only
anything
seen,
about the Battle Angel.
So
Oh, yeah.
Battle Angel is a adaptation of an old manga from Japan about a cyborg girl, but they have used CG to make her eyes look very I have not seen
Yeah,
any recent
well,
footage.
they were
but
disturbingly
eyes.
big.
oh, got it.
They used CG, and then they released another trailer, and they had dialed it back a bit to where it was a
So
little more
it's sort of like
palatable.
a Bane voice tweak that they had done. I see.
Kinda.
Okay. Yeah, that is a little
Yeah,
disturbing.
a little too much. Let's see. Aquaman, wet Jason Momoa. Bumblebee from the Transformers.
Man, they've already been hyping that thing forever.
Yeah. Holmes and Watson, another Sherlock Holmes thing.
Is this have Robert Downey?
No.
Yep.
It does?
Yep.
Yeah, and Jude Law.
Jude Law.
And Will Ferrell's in it.
Oh, he is.
Lauren
oh
Lapkus
no
is
no
in
no
it?
no no! This is Will Ferrell and John C. Riley.
Oh yeah, no, Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly are this. This is not a Robert Downey Jr. thing.
No, I know they
It's a
are
comedy.
doing another Robert Downey Jr. one, but this is a comedy version.
Oh.
Let's
There we go.
capitalize on this. Let's ride Cumberbatch tails.
I mean, that's if only
Yeah.
we all could.
Welcome to the Marwen, which is a Steve Carell joint. It is a drama about a man who is the victim of assault and creates a miniature World War II village in his yard to help in his recovery. So that could be indeed. That could be some indie money. On the basis of sex, that's the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not doc, but reenactment.
Yeah.
basically. Hellboy. They're making a Hellboy.
Is it supposed to be like the origin story again, like just the
Yeah, and Hellboy is the sheriff from Stranger Things.
Stranger Things,
Oh.
yeah.
He's all buffed out.
Yeah.
It looks really good.
He loves to punch, even in Stranger Things.
Also, Mila Jovovich is in this too.
Oh, this is what number 31 on the list. Jay asked.
Glass.
I woke up.
He woke up, and one of the first questions he asked is like, "Has Glass come out yet?"
Yeah, I was like, did I miss it?
Yeah, right in the middle of January we got Glass, which is the like MCU version of the M. Night Shyamalan universe.
You're like, Jay, you just woke up from a coma. It's a miracle. Shut up about that. Tell me about Glass.
Yeah, real thing. Dude, look at this trailer for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm just in love with the aesthetic and everything.
Ooh, yeah.
So this is all 3D CG.
And then they do some really cool, funky rack focus stuff.
Yeah, instead of doing like bokeh, they do chromatic aberration to hint at focus.
That upside down shot, like total goosebumps. And it also has almost like a claymation 10 or 15
Yeah,
FPS look.
It keeps
that's
switching
what
back.
really bothered me. I
There's-
personally don't like them going around 12 to 14 frames a second. I mean,
And so this is an older clip, so because I feel like I did not see that in newer clips, but I do get what you're saying because the Netflix just had that Dragon Prince show come out, and that's also in like 12 frames or 15 frames per second, and it confused me because it's also 3D graphics, and I'm like,
I don't know why they insist on doing that.
It
It's
doesn't
awful.
look good. A lot of Japanese anime that is 3D.
Well,
will do that too.
that's the whole difference on the 1s, 2s, and 3s, right? On the 1s is 24 frames per second, which you can, you get smooth motion, but then
It's very expensive.
Yeah, exactly, because you can't go into a lot of detail. On the 2s is 12 FPS, and on the 3s is whatever, 24 divided by 8.
Eight.
Scientists are still figuring that out.
Many Bothans died to bring us
But
this
then,
information.
what's on the 4s? Because we already
that's-
established 1's pee and 2's poop.
I was like, oh, are we back on that when you started doing that? Like,
So those are the movies that are coming up to this Monday's movie draft. We will be doing that one more time after Cord Killers. Watch it live so you can get in on the forum, but there will still be space after the show goes live. So there you go.
okay, I gotta bounce.
Yeah,
man.
get out of here, dude.
I'm gonna
I'll
leave
CJ out.
the ham in your care because
Okay.
we've got till November 18th. But I feel like
Also,
we
it needs to stay refrigerated because I don't think this is cooked.
yeah. No,
It's going to be cooked, but
Is that?
it's probably cooked.
it
They
looks cooked?
usually are.
yeah.
They're
Okay.
usually cooked. You
It says
cook it.
fully. It says fully cooked.
Yeah,
right.
you do it to crisp up the skin. We're gonna go.
All right, here. I'm going to CJ
Look.
out. You guys hang out.
Yeah,
We'll-
no,
Sure.
I want us to
Everyone
do
say
some-
goodbye to Jay. Bye, Jay. Jay, any last words?
Vaya con Dios.
See you, Jay.
Hey, Justin.
Man, that was a crazy episode.
That was a
Everybody was hopefully liked it because that was definitely a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was good though. It was good. Yeah. You want to take a look at some show titles, Sweet Juice?
Yeah, let's look at some show.
Let's look at some show titles. Everybody, thank you who submitted show titles. Let's check out nightattack.showbot.tv. The top one, the Samuel L. Jackson of Coma Patients.
Oh, wow. Wait. Okay. Yeah, I remember that being said. I don't quite remember the where it was said or what in what context.
Yeah, I don't quite remember. What Did I Miss is pretty solid. J
What I
2.0
Miss is really good.
Nat Ham, that's our Twitch emote. You Were the Shitty Voltron. Who's in a coma here? I'd rather be in a coma. Actual ham.
I actually didn't know if Brian was doing a bit where he assumed that he was like trying to do a bit that the North Korea summit didn't happen.
Oh no! Yeah, no. That was like because it did happen. It just nothing came out of it now.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's trying to. All right.
The one with Jay Brushwood right after his coma.
Which I'm always going to be for. That's where my vote goes.
Jaywalking again. We just did jaywalk. The People's Republic of Jay. We're going to sell Jay's Dreams to Netflix. The 10 Commandments.
Oh my God! I mean, listen, you might break your arm with that one with that reach, but
Star Trek Deep Space J.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Trace that sucker. Oh, Trace that sucker. 4 times the power of Drunk J. Doctors baffled by recovery. You spilled the waters.
You spilled the waters. Low key is pretty amazing.
That's good. I'm gonna click that one. Let's see. Nobody's gonna come after me in the shower.
Also, it was about Lanny Davis. Although that gets us into the balls like the TARDIS.
Forget
category.
it.
No one knows what the fuck happened.
Brian anyone with the hanging with Satan, Ham Satan. Give me a bunch of gummy bears. Don't get it done. Jay, the Next Generation. Let's see. Christopher Walken. Boglins for Jay. Waves hands. Let's see. Any last ones? We're in the kind of the low votes here. Everybody vomits. Thanks for the ham fuckos. Pretty solid. And it will say with Jay Brushwood on whatever the title we go with is. So we don't necessarily need to.
Brian really didn't play Robert Downey Jr.
All right, let's look at the top votes. Top votes include Samuel L. Jackson of Coma Patients. What Did I Miss? I'm going to click What I Missed because I also like that one.
I think What I Miss with Jay Brushwood is probably my. I think that kind of gets us to where we need to go.
Yeah, that's really solid. All right, I'm gonna start writing some stuff. What did I miss?
Let me just say this because we did want to save this as a surprise for everybody. So there wasn't a lot to set up, but for anybody to talk about addiction and recovery, specifically failed attempts at it. Number one, I highly encourage if you or somebody you love is in a situation like that is the kind of communication and honesty that is necessary to get out of a situation like that. But for you to do it is an act of bravery. It is an act of strength. For Jay to not only request to do it on this show, but do it in front of everybody, I think that without a doubt is something that is extraordinarily strong and extraordinarily brave that everybody should recognize as such, but also I think shows how much he cares about this community and how rad our this weird world that we've created is. So
yeah,
just know that this is a special thing. This is not something that is just like a whackety schmackety, like let's throw Jay on the thing. Like for Jay to say the stuff that he said tonight is very extraordinarily strong and extraordinarily brave.
Yeah. You know, the Jay's situation has kind of like unfolded rather quickly from my perspective and my vicariously living through it through Brian telling me all the updates and stuff. And so for him to like be back and up and active and talking and also already feeling comfortable sharing even this much about it, is inspiring and really takes a lot of courage and like self-understanding, because you're right, it's like it's a deep hole, and to get even a little glimpse of it straight down is something that other people or something that would make someone nervous in that situation, especially as they're actively working on all of this.
Well, let me put it into this context. So we all know that addiction's a bad thing. We all know that substance abuse is a bad thing. We all know the consequences for which are grave, right? You know, are oftentimes as far-reaching as you could possibly imagine. Yeah. The cornerstone of all that is not communicating that you have a problem. Mm-hmm. Like, much of this can be solved if not for just saying it, the process by which you come to saying it, and like that. I just want everybody to know in context how fucking badass that was. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah, like it
ironclad.
Yeah. And like, you know, Jay, everyone knows Jay's very big and got a big boisterous sort of personality. And I think he did not close the door. That's cool. I'm gonna hit this button over here. You know, that's you know, partially I think why he's so comfortable with us now. But yeah, it still takes a lot of bravery to talk about this. So
yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it was so dope.
Yeah.
You know, and Eli Expert was so excited throughout the entire episode. I'm sure he will certainly get back in touch with you ASAP as he is putting his shit back together. But that was just dope.
Yeah,
that was awesome. That was really inspiring to see.
Whew. All right.
And also, like, let me just say, I have seen Jay. I mean, geez, I can't remember the last time I saw him, but he was certainly not post-coma, right? And then I saw him 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And he's fucking the same dude. There's a little bit, I think, of muscle. He's just getting back used to his body. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, man, he's the fucking, like, it's that on a medical level is just fucking mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Well, especially, you know, they had it had not looked good given how long the coma was, the medically induced coma. And so, you know, if you are familiar at all with, you know, what it looks like when you get out of even a short-term coma, you know, to call it, everyone would want it to be optimistic, but I think the reality of the situation set in that
it doesn't. Yeah. Like, again, the only way that I could really have described it was that, like, everybody was very optimistic for a week and a half.
Yeah.
And just like, okay, cool. You can wake up every day optimistic and then go to sleep every night without the thing happening and see how that wears on you. Right? Like, there's no other way to put it.
Yeah. How you holding up, Brian?
Oh, good. Not gonna lie, in private conversations between Justin and I, this afternoon, it's like, so how's tonight gonna go? And it's like, don't know. We're gonna and there was, you know, we didn't know what would be covered. We didn't know what would come up. We didn't know what Jay would and wouldn't be comfortable talking about. And the best we could do is come up with contingency plans, you know, try to figure out, like, you know, where are we or whatever.
I definitely had a game in my back pocket.
Well, good.
In case that wasn't very sure. So we have a game for next week.
Good. And I think, you know, you hope things go a certain way, but you dare not plan for them to. And so we had a bunch of, you know, structured regular episodes like, hey, here's Jay, he's okay. And so long, Jay, let's play a game.
Yeah,
but,
because it was very last minute that he was able to stay longer than we thought.
correct. But on top of that, it was also completely unknown because part of what made that such an electric experience is I got to hear things for the very first time, and Jay got to hear things for the very first time. And the fact that Jay was comfortable having that discussion in a public forum, I think is really, really precious. And, like that moment that he was, riffing on, of course, Dad's like, and waves hands. And then he suddenly realized like, oh, wait, they might be watching right now or whatever. That was pretty astonishing to me that everything went as good as I dared hope it was going to go. Because I knew I was throwing a curveball to both of you gentlemen when I was like, so Jay wants to be on the show, and none of us knew what it was going to look like because Jay's
Which, by the way, I got while I was sitting on
flying
the
back.
tarmac.
and you're like, God damn it, like turn this plane around, motherfuckers.
No, with the door still open, and I'm like, fuck, should I run off this plane? Am I gonna romantic comedy this shit where I'm just like, stop?
You're doing the same thing, but you're like trying to get out of security very fast, and they're like, you could just leave right here. We don't do a check on exit.
Because I hadn't checked my bags. I had my one bag with me, but also I needed to get fucking home. So I'm glad I got home. But
and the good news, of course, is that it was a fine episode, even over Skype.
I think, to be honest, me being a tertiary voice there was no way that I was not going to be the guy who piped in once every 15 minutes, no matter what, because of everything there. So I think it was fine. But yeah, you're right. All of a sudden, it's like Jay wants to do the show, and he wants to talk about everything, and it's like, well, okay, we'll process that because that means that he is, and to be brutally honest, it means he's committed to his recovery.
Yeah.
Because
and that's one of those things where it's like only he could decide to stand up in front of the congregation and profess his love for Christ, and the mere fact that he like that to me is one of those warm, misty-eyed moments where I'm like, oh, Jesus, it's really happening. He's really committing in public to not only the story of what came before, but the story of what comes next. And that is a tremendously powerful social structure, to make that kind of commitment and tell that story. It does help that his fucking work has been true champions in all of this.
Yeah.
It does help that he is surrounded by people who love him. It does help that he's in a good program that he seems to love. It does help that he is living in a sober living community. It's that was a big question. Even as I said yes, I was like, man, is he even? He made that stinger, and I think what he wanted to do with the stinger was just convey, surprise, Jay's better than you thought. But when he wrote, he's fine, I was like, oh, geez, what does that mean? Is he going to get up here, put on his sunglasses, and just pretend like everything's okay? But instead, it was exactly everything I hoped. He was sensitive and honest and recognized that he's got a journey ahead of him. And I swear to God, guys, I hope I hope there's somebody out there hearing this that is really inspired by what Jay chose to share today. Because, again, this is all happening much faster than I am comfortable with. I am very, as somebody who loves him very much, twisted up over how I feel. But damned if everything about tonight didn't feel exactly right.
There was a moment at the very beginning of the episode when we had stumbled into this rich treasure trove of and now Jay tells the tales of coma dreams, and we try to match real life things with his crazy coma dreams. And I was trying to feed into that. And Jay's like, oh, do we want to start from the beginning? And I was like, okay, no, because I don't want to get away from these coma dreams. Fucking amazing.
You're right, man.
The fact that he had set up, that he had pre-auth this like, no. I want to get into this stuff that happened before. I was like, this is going to be a fine episode. Any worry I had about the episode was gone in that first moment where he brought everything up, because that was the only real worry, was that you never know. And look, Mitsula's here in the chat. He knows what it's like to go through recovery and to stay sober, and the challenge that is. And part of it is just zeroing out the secrets and zeroing out the shame and zeroing out like being able to say like, no, I want to take control of my own life. And that's really what addiction and recovery is just, you know, you being able to make decisions and then let them add to your life. Or if they're going to subtract, like, you know, subtract remainders, not whole digits. You know,
I will say, separate side tangent. Mitsula is one of my favorite. I shared this when I was out there at DEF CON. Chris was nice enough to drive us around and help us out with moving stuff about. And there was just this moment, especially, you know, with the situation Jay was in, that I was just overwhelmed. I was like, Chris, I just want you to know how proud I am of you and how pleased I am with watching you go from somebody over imbibing out of nervousness at a magic conference to somebody who is the boss of Las Vegas. I mean, everybody, he knows everyone. He knows all the best everythings. If you go to Las Vegas, I strongly suggest you reach out to @Mitzula to ask for the real, like, anybody who's been to Vegas and has done it without encountering Chris Minton has not really done Vegas. and I don't know. I'm excited that I could be proud for Jay in the same way. And by the way, Chris, if you haven't already, reach out to Jay and you guys should chat.
Jesus. Yeah. Fucking A, man. That was everything that I could have hoped and wanted it to be. And I'm glad that you guys got to have that moment of being able to share stuff. And, look, there's one side of this that's like, if you're coming in from totally cold and you're like, okay, sure. But like, why does it have to be live on the internet? Like, why are you doing this as a show? And I will say this, if you have ever been through any kind of family trauma, if you've ever been through any kind of thing where the realities of, I don't know if I want to, you know, stay the extra 5 minutes because Aunt whatever is going to be there and it might be awkward and everybody's got to be together for Thanksgiving, like, along with the zero-sum, hey, somebody might live or die based on the decisions that we are making. Man, does the cleansing sunlight of, and now it's on, like, literally, the lights are on, please talk about this in a public square, I think cuts through a lot of the bullshit and a lot of the like, oh, okay, like, because there's no way to say in a clear tone to communicate, hey, I thought you were going to die. That's why I wanted to sell your furniture, right? Like, that's hard to, there are some things that are harder to say in private than they are in public. And sometimes when you're just looking for the broad strokes of like, hey, I'm committed to recovery. Hey, you're loved. Man, it's just so much that sunlight.
That's a really good point, because if it's the two of us and I say to Jay, I genuinely was preparing for your death, then what do you say to that? Is that an indictment? Is that an assessment? Is that a judgment or any of that stuff? And yet somehow in this magical safe space where we are talking in front of an audience, it makes sense where it's like, okay, now's the part where I expose my inner fears and I tell you what I'm going through, because that makes sense in the context of this joint story that we're telling together. And that's really interesting. I wonder what parts of tonight I was only able to say because there was an audience watching.
Well, and part of it is, it's a different thing for us because you owe something to the audience. Obviously not in the same level that you owe it to Jay,
sure,
but in a different way, right? Like, as a communicator of this kind of stuff, like, you owe it to the audience to say, hey, this is what or even just to speak clearly, to communicate in a clear and concise manner. a lot of times you'll fuzz a little bit on communicating in a clear and concise manner when you're with family, friends, people that are going through a lot. You don't want to give them everything because, look, life is hard and maybe this is not the time. But for a show like this, again, when all the messages are positive, like even the negative stuff is positive.
Yeah.
You know, the negative stuff is telling a realistic story.
Chris chimed in, reminded me that when I told him about all of the J stuff, that was only 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, I was numb with despair and isolation while in Las Vegas talking about, Jay's situation, and to see where he is right now. And again, man, I can't state it enough. It's not just that he woke up and then is moving around and that he's got his faculties with him. It's the fact that he seems to grok the next act of this and the owning of what comes next. I told Jay, in fact, when I saw him out just now, I was like, Jay, I can't think of a single time I've been more proud of you than I am right now. And I don't know, super, super, super happy for him.
Yeah. I'm going to say it again. I know I'm just fucking a broken record at this point, but understand what you saw, because what you saw is fucking remarkable. And all I can say to anybody for whom has been through that, either personally or dealing with it, with people through it, then and if you don't, then if you ever are in that situation, understand what that means.
Yeah.
You will understand.
Yeah.
Hey, do a little bit of breaking news. Apparently, someone's saying, I don't know, South Korea and North Korea have agreed on a way to achieve denuclearization.
Yeah, this is one of those weird. I don't know. We'll see whether or not it sticks in the morning. They do have a bit of a habit of.
Well, and this is Moon Jae-in saying this, who is a South Korean politician. So.
Yeah. It doesn't make it not progress, but the North Koreans have a habit of playing the hokey pokey, and part of that is the despotic nature of their regime, and the other part is that they are a proxy for China. So whatever China, doesn't really matter on some levels what North Korea wants to do, because their kleptocracy does not function unless they have Chinese funding and goods. So
Sure.
We'll see.
In any case, that was a thing we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Topical shit.
Topical shit. Topical shit. Take a shit and apply this cream. It's topical shit. No? Oh, never mind.
Topical shit.
You
Is the
put your
shit
right nuclear missile in. You take your right nuclear missile out.
And of course, I'm a Mount Tam truther. For those North Korea heads out there, it is my belief that North Korea accidentally caved in their entire nuclear facility, and that's why we've seen them kind of rush to the peace table.
Oh, really?
Just Google. There's satellite imagery to show that Mount Tam did exist, and then it didn't exist, and there were signs of earthquake level Richter scale around the area, and that there is a suspicion that as they realized that they were not yeah, that's it.
North Korea nuclear test site has collapsed, maybe out of action. Reports build on evidence that the site is unstable after 6th nuclear test, and puts Kim Jong-un's pledge to no longer use the site.
See, that makes me wonder if, that's the kind of thing where it's like, you send in a small special operations team with a suitcase nuke, and you induce little earthquake.
So the big issue with it was, the part of the reason why taking out North Korea as a military thing was hard is that you never really knew where they were going to launch it. They would roll out mobile launching facilities to launch nukes, but part of the issue is that you have to roll out these platforms.
Meanwhile, like spy cameras are just watching you take the nuke. That was the thing. That was the only thing that backed Bonnie out of total panic about all of this, is when I explained, like, you realize how long do you think it takes to get ready to launch a nuke? And, let's say days. And it's like, how many spy satellites do you think are trained on North Korea? And it's like, do you think it's remotely possible that they could surprise the United States with an actual equipped missile ready to attack? Which is part of what makes me think that maybe, I don't know.
Also, and this is one, and I'm really getting into the weeds conspiracy wise here, but like, you always hear from like foreign policy writers, like, man, it's really hard to get a spy into North Korea. It's impossible to get a spy into North Korea.
That seems like the thing you would say.
Spy into North Korea.
That seems like the kind of thing you would make sure to say an awful lot if you had definite lodged in network of spies in North Korea.
Also, it's a kleptocracy that has been moved to action by shutting off their whiskey and iPods at one time during the aughts. So, like, something tells me that there are ways in which we can press elements of either the government layer or the military layer within North Korea to have a little.
By the way, thank you to Kim Jong Uno Dos Thrace for subscribing to Twitch.
Thank you.
Brand new viewer. Good to see new viewer.
Who was it? Was it at DEF CON that they were taking donations of USB drives to be loaded with Western propaganda and dropped in?
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I've heard that.
in North Korea. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, they had a whole booth.
They using H.264, AVI, MPEG.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, basically just like let's get them. I don't want to say addicted. Let's get them comfortable with the idea of watching a bunch of Western shit.
I'm just saying, what are the codecs we're talking about here?
Clap emojis.
Do they like QuickTime? Yeah, that sort of stuff is really, like, because South Korea was doing this up until earlier this year, where they would blast Korean pop music over the DMZ to try to entice the North Koreans into hearing,
to be cool.
Well, hearing what South Korean culture was on a broader scale.
Right.
Yeah, Sandwich Rad's got it right. X265 or get the fuck out.
So I will lay money that I think I will see Kim Jong-un courtside at an NBA game in my lifetime.
I think so too. So the narrative is
it'll probably happen in China, but I don't know if it'll be in America. I don't think it'll be courtside at the Knicks or anything, but although it'd be amazing to hear a New York crowd boo Kim Jong-un, just a bunch of fucking strap hanging ham and eggers. Like,
so think about this.
You.
So here is what is dangling, and I've not read enough about this. So you tell me how crazy this talk is, Justin. But I can see, like, I guess Kim Jong-un went to school like at some Western in America, or where did he go to college?
London, I think.
Okay, so he has been exposed to Western culture. I can picture him
loves it, as his dad did. His dad was a movie buff.
So I could picture a version where he says, hey, imagine if you were born into a cult.
Switzerland.
And at some point you recognized that you were in a cult and everything was crazy. There are only so many ways to get out of the cult. One of the chief among which, where loyalty is valued over everything else, you have to sing the songs and wear the costumes and take the multiple wives in the cult. And yet you're looking for a way to not just escape the cult, because that would be selfish. Instead, you're trying to figure out a way to shut the cult down. Among those ways, you could make a case of, like, North Korea has to have something that the whole world wants. And right now what we have is famine, starving people, shitty products, and nothing. But we are 80% of the way towards having a nuke. So it seems like, recognizing that you're in a cult and you want to shut the cult down, maybe one of the ways is to get that next 20%, have something that the whole world wants, which is you to stop having nukes, and then trade it for something that will do genuine good for your people and set them free and shut down everything and do a united Germany thing. Like we get it. We're the shitty Korea. I like that seems to be like a not unattainable narrative for Kim Jong-un in the next 5 years, whether it's true or not.
Let's assume that Kim Jong-un is literally just like record scratch. Yup, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here, right?
Right.
And he is the pure-hearted protagonist in this story, and all he wants to do is to bring prosperity to the North Korean people.
Hypothetically, and by the way, none of this is what I necessarily ascribe to, but it is fun to play with.
And let's just whitewash away all the like murdered mistresses and murdered family members and feed people to dogs and stuff like that, right? Let's say, or let's listen. You should hear the story. It's hilarious how it wound up coming to that, right? It was really the bad person. What Kim Jong-un has to navigate, even if that's true, he has to navigate the military, which in strongman regimes tend to be the strength part of the strongman, is the military organ, for which is always going to be closer to a coup than in a democratically elected society. And China, who could basically just say, you want to know what? We think that there are a lot of credible assassination attempts against you. Why don't you come to Shanghai forever and just never leave forever? And then maybe one day you'll get sick and die. So he has to thread that needle while also dealing with, all the rest of the world, of Japan and South Korea and everything. Like that's, even if you were to try and say that he was at absolute, like exactly trying to dismantle it from the inside, it would be fucking really, really, really hard.
But also, I remember Gorbachev being the devil until suddenly he was not, and then in 20 years, 30 years later, hindsight, was one of the best figures for world peace in my lifetime.
You never saw The Americans, right?
No, not yet.
Oh, dude, you'll love it. It's specifically the last season deal. I mean, they're Russian spies, and the last season deals.
With the aftermath of the crumbling and all that.
No. The like moments in which there's a leader who wants to take the country a certain way. And then let's say there's another organization like the KGB that believes that he is giving away the farm and everybody's going to be dead because he's subjugating the country.
Right.
While our main characters are playing telephone, from the other side of the world, just trying to decipher shit. Anywho, yeah, man, it's crazy. But if from what Sunbun said, Kim Jong-un has said that he is going to go to Seoul, which is a gigantic step. It was a gigantic step for him to step foot on South Korean, to step foot together and meet together. So if he's going to do a state visit to Seoul and they want to wind down the Korean War, like that is big. And I hate. I'm not going to say who, because it'll start a fight, but there's somebody who's a very high-ranking official in the American government that's going to wind up getting credit for it.
Also, I do want to say howdy and hello to Emmy Page 1776.
Hi, welcome.
Who is a real-life rando who came into the stream. Welcome.
Hi.
We did a comedy show. Only it wasn't funny tonight because we were talking about
that.
my brother.
It was funny.
No, it was. Gosh.
No, there was one joke. There was a joke where you just knew that, comedy is a rubber band, right? And it's tension, release. And the joke wasn't even really that funny, but the fucking chat room just like exploded like it was the funniest fucking thing ever, because we've been talking about comas and families and substance abuse and everything. Like, it was fucking amazing.
What else is in our bag of tricks if we're going to hang around here for a bit? I mean, we're coming up on the 3-hour mark.
Yeah, I guess we are.
Is there anything else worth watching? In fact, Emmy Page 1776, you take the helm. What would you like us to talk about? Imagine that you called into a radio show. This is I'm gonna guess you're not old enough to remember AM radio, but imagine you called in and not only could you chime in on a thing, but you could full on direct the topic for everyone to discuss.
This is Brian describing Twitch to someone from 2001. Like, this is...
Yes, accurate. That's 100% accurate. And we're good.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Someone posted this in the Reddit today. I did not get a chance to look at it. I don't even know if this...
What?
Apparently,
that headline?
There might be a...
It's from the Science News Reporter, which means it's definitely science.
There might have been signs that we've discovered a parallel universe.
Okay.
I mean, you can tell from this first image that there's some real shit
do a
going on.
Control F and type in Berenstain or Mandela or...
No, Mandela. Look at this scientific image, though. Look at that one.
Oh, shit, man. That
Look
is
at that. It's fucking Inception.
Yeah.
That's Inception. That's Inception.
I don't want to throw the Science News Reporter under the bus.
But while you're down there, according to researchers, Dr. Rangaramchari examined the noise and residual signals in the cosmic microwave background left over from the Big Bang. It says pictured, but I don't know which of these images is supposed to be pictured. I showed you all of them.
Scroll up. No,
it's not that one.
Okay, no, it's not pictured. That makes me feel like they're about to sell you Herbalife.
And found a number of scattered bright spots, which he believes may be signals of another universe bumping into our own billions of years ago.
Yeah, so there's the cosmic radiation background noise, which is sort of the uniform field, the static that can never go away, that was originally thought to be an error in instruments, but instead turns out to be sort of a map of the residual radiation from the Big Bang as the universe expands and the light very late to us gets back to us. This is how we're able to calculate that the universe seems to be 13.5 billion years, give or take. And basically you're saying it says something in there?
Yeah, basically, so the fine-tuning of parameters in the early universe required to reproduce our present-day universe suggests that our universe may simply be a region within an eternally inflating super-region. Astronomy.com has a much more modest headline. The cosmic cold spot challenges our current cosmological model. So there you go.
Yeah.
What would you want the alternate... If there was an alternate or a parallel universe, what would you want to be different in it?
Well, so
like, think about it like a sci-fi show. You get to change one thing.
There is a credible theory that basically says, I'm gonna totally mangle this. And what you should do is you should look up the Sam Harris Waking Up podcast where he interviews the guy that explains it, which I want to say was like 4 or 5 months ago. Basically, are you familiar with the particle wave experiment, where it's like you have 2 slots and you shoot an electron at it,
and observing it and measuring it is different.
No, specifically like whether and this is again just my understanding. Shoot a photon at a 2 slots. Is it a particle, a single unit, a photon, in which case you would expect it to act like a bullet, in which case it either goes through slat A or slat B, in which case, and you fire billions of them, right? And then you see kind of 2 clusters on the back. But if light is a wave, then you would expect it to go out and then hit both at the same time and become 2 waves that would create an interference pattern. Mm-hmm. And so basically the answer is it's both, depending on how you look at it, if I remember correctly. But the important part is that decision gate, that is it the one or the other. The theory is that the universe, reality itself, is every time any one of those could go one way or the other. It does both. And mathematically, it works out. And so as a result, the implication is every decision you make, every possible roll of the dice, everything that it is possible for things to have gone one way or the other, it does both. And there are splinter realities constantly.
So effectively infinite timelines.
The many
branching
worlds theory.
from-
Thank you, Tinvek. Yes, correct. It's the many worlds theory, if
Sure.
you want to look it up. But so in that case, it's not just that, there's an alternate reality. It's that they're
Sure.
all real.
Yeah, but you're ignoring my question. If we found one, what would you want the difference to be?
Um,
Something fun. It could just be something fun. Justin, what do you think? You want it to be blue like the Ozarks, just it's an Ozark filter on the world? That's
I
my
love
least
that- I
favorite
love
on that.
that this
I
is-
hate that part of the show.
Really?
Ozark is a very good show, but the coloring and the way that they treat text feels so like amateur. I don't like their choices with that stuff.
it's just too much. They could have been subtler on all that.
Yeah, well, and like all the text stuff looks like fucking Final Cut, like default Calibri text font. So, I don't know.
I'd probably go with Abe Lincoln being Asian.
Oh, okay.
How'd he get there? I don't know. Up to you, universe.
Yeah. All right.
It was Revenge of the Jedi, not Return of the Jedi. All sandwiches are hot dogs.
Now that one's already true. Oh wait, no. All sandwiches are hot dogs.
All hot dogs are sandwiches. They got to be. That's a sandwich.
A hot dog being a sandwich?
Yeah. How could it not be?
I think a
hamburger.
hot dog's a taco.
A hamburger's already a sandwich. Well, hold on. Does that mean I go to Subway and get a 6-inch taco?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And sometimes they had a little taco floater back in the day when they had the U Gorge.
But you also can eat a sub in any angle y'all ways. There's an upward to a hot dog, much like there is a taco.
I disagree. I've
So is
started
a taco a sandwich?
So is a taco a sandwich?
Oh, got me.
Because there's an orientation, right? I think
Yeah,
the
no, you
orientation
got me.
makes
You got me.
makes a good point.
Fuck.
Hot dog's a white man's taco.
So
That's true. Now, Tinvex says, what about corn dogs? I think I think you could make an argument that a corn dog is a slider.
wait, no, slider isn't fully encased.
Oh,
But
corn
it's
dogs, cotton candy.
Corn dog is cotton candy.
Corn dog is ravioli. It's ravioli on a stick.
Yes, corn
That's
dogs are
exactly-
definitely
yeah, no,
ravioli.
that tracks.
absolutely is
That
true.
tracks.
We have to define this by the stick. Any
oh,
by
what-
stick is the same thing.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, so a hot- so a
you're,
corn
you're
dog is a
telling me
kebab.
if I buy a hot pocket and I stick a stick in it, now I have a corn dog?
Well, you have a kebab.
Oh, now you have another meat and carb cotton candy.
Cotton candy. So are you saying
Again-
kebabs are cotton candy?
Yes.
No,
Why
kebab
is cotton
meat
candy
on
the
a stick.
progenitor of this?
Yeah.
That's the weirdest version.
This is Universe B food talk.
Where should people? This should be the subject of our next mailbag.
Sure, mail at nightattack.tv if you want to send in your ideas on this.
Yeah.
It'll be better than piss
Hit
and
it-
shit and cum.
Hit,
So-
hit us up with your toughest conundrums and let us suss it out.
Spoiler alert, I will refuse to include any emails next week about piss and shit and cum. So
Yes. However, unless they're on a stick, in which case they're hot dogs.
Hot candy. Yeah.
hot dogs.
Corn
Shit on a stick is cotton candy.
How sick is cotton candy?
A corn dog is just a scoop for eating mustard. I hadn't thought about that.
Ooh, a corn dog
Oh,
is a
no, no,
spoon.
That's always been a favorite conversation of mine of what foods are really just delivery methods for other foods.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
Certainly, like we were chowing down on those Fritos scoops.
Like I would say like noodles, like spaghetti noodle or a ramen noodle.
All right, so obviously the easy ones, chips and dip,
Yep,
right? Like
sure.
you're using that to get, but like rice, in writ large.
Yeah,
That's
what the fuck is the
usually-
point of rice?
Well, you need a what? You need a carb.
You just need, but no, rice is just a delivery method for literally everything you put on rice.
Well, for soy sauce, certainly. I mean, what are you going to
Soy
drink
sauce,
soy sauce
teriyaki
straight?
sauce.
That'd be crazy, and I wouldn't ever admit to doing that on the reg.
But that's interesting because I would not say like. I think that tracks if we're saying soy sauce, but that doesn't always track if we're talking about a protein, right? Like sometimes if you have a fried rice, okay, that's a way to get cubed chicken and vegetables, but I don't.
What about tofu? Is tofu the destination or the journey?
I don't like tofu, so I don't know. I don't have tofu experience.
Justin?
What do you think, Justin, about tofu?
Yeah, do you know anyone who loves tofu?
There's a lot of tofu consumed in this house. I'm gonna let you know. Wait, is tofu a delivery? Oh yeah, almost certainly. Yeah.
Wait, really?
It is?
Because when I do
What
stir
does it
fry,
deliver?
that's the destination. That's the protein, like bell peppers and all this shit, and then
But of course,
finally,
then
so you can have the tofu.
Because I guess my definition of it, whether or not it's a delivery method for other things, and by the way, I'm including just like salt, like just a delivery
Really?
method.
Sure.
For salt,
What?
right?
That seems wild to me,
Because
but okay.
you don't just want to gorge salt, so you got to have a little delivery method.
Salt is the destination, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying yes, and to get you
You're saying
there,
tofu.
you have to-
Tofu is the journey that gets you to salt. Yeah, no,
this
I'm,
is a
I'm
very
down for that.
liberal definition of
Yeah.
delivery method
Yeah.
from my taste.
Because look, who's going to the Whole Foods vegan freezer and pulling out that sprouted tofu and then just ripping off the top and munching right on it? Not a lot of people. You're gonna do something with it.
I might pay for it first.
Fair point.
Tortillas
I've
are
literally
obvious,
never seen that.
Tortillas are an obvious delivery mechanism.
I've definitely eaten tortillas straight though.
Well, but if you eat anything straight,
I mean, no one's
Yeah.
saying that. Like, it's not like the universe is gonna reject you doing it. Like, you can do it. It's just
No,
whether or not it's to be done.
But I guess okay, yeah, fair enough.
but I think pasta. I think
Pasta is a
I think-
delivery vehicle.
plenty.
I'd-
Almost all pastas.
Pasta might be the Rolls Royce of delivery vehicles because it is so fancy.
Yeah, it's fancy.
Like,
and it's
very, very rarely do you like, oh, I want to make bow tie tofu. It's normally just like, just chop up the tofu or crumble it up and then you're done.
Yeah,
yeah.
that works.
Man, what
What about cheese? Is it
is cheese a delivery mechanism?
Yeah, is
only
it-
for dogs.
to deliver their pills.
deliver pills.
Yeah. Fair enough. Although so apparently like the American Dairy Board, I read the book Salt, Sugar, Fat at one point, and they were talking about how up until I want to say the 1950s, cheese was always a delicacy on its side, but then they just had so much of it in the dairy industry because they were pushing milk that
Put it on everything.
that
you-
they manufactured the idea of cheese as an ingredient, and they slid that in
Interesting.
because it made everything more savory because of all the fat.
Yeah. Huh. Oh man. So okay. So is a meatball a delivery mechanism?
No,
Does the shape of a meatball separate from the meat it's made of? I guess not.
meatballs in the same category as a steak, right? You can have a steak, and maybe the steak is better when you add garlic, salt, and Worcestershire sauce on it, but it's still the steak that I'm salivating as I say this. Meatball, same thing. Maybe it's got marinara on it, maybe it doesn't, maybe it's been deep fried, maybe it hasn't, but the meatball is the destination.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think that's because you would, if the meatballs are cooked, you're at the Whole Foods, you go to the freezer, you could just eat those right out the bag. Yeah.
Pizza is a good question. 'cause
Fucking
I think-
pizza's an abomination. Pizza's a
Why-
goddamn abomination.
I think it's pretty clearly a delivery mechanism.
I think you're just psyching yourself up because you're on limited carbs.
I mean, you're not wrong.
'Cause, I mean-
Especially after this weekend where we ate all the carbs.
Oh my fucking god!
They great wings,
Last night I definitely cooked a thing of mac and cheese and then
Like Easy Mac?
opened and then I opened a package of Lay's potato chips, and as if it was chips and salsa, I used the Lay's potato chips to scoop up.
There was a moment on Friday where Brian and I are hanging out at the compound, and we've certainly been imbibing, and we were just like riding the high of touring the grounds and everything, and we're watching The Simpsons. And Brian is just doing this move where he just keeps grabbing chips and eating chips, and then just kind of like doing his like, Brian, I'm hanging out, and he just like hold the chips up to me, and I'd be like, no, it's fine. He'd be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just gonna eat more chips. You want more now? He rotated between like 4 bags of chips, and then eventually he got to the beef jerky, and he just started leaving beef jerky on the table and pointing at it for me. Like, he's just like, if you're not gonna like make the decision to eat it, I'm just leaving meat for you. And at that point, I had no willpower, and I was just like, yup.
Oh, goddamn. Oh my god! All right, look, I feel like we got to go out on a high note. Let's go ahead and wrap everything up, man.
All right. Thank you everybody for watching the after show.
Oh.
We'll be back next week with more.
You guys are the best.
Yeah, bye y'all.
Searching for salvation, can we find our way back, way back? Caught up in confusion, need a resolution. Can we find our way back, way back? No more running, no more running, no more chasing. No more running now, I'm running out of patience. Caught up in confusion, need a resolution. Can we find our way